So, hi guys, welcome to the research internship talk, and we are back again with our Tech Club talks. So we are focusing on internships this time. So our first session will be on the NTU research internship, and myself, I'm the president of Tech Club, and I've been a former research intern at NTU, and we'll also be having our speaker Akshet Patel, who's currently pursuing his masters in robotics and computation at UCL London. He's also a former research intern at NTU, so we'll be sharing our experiences. So feel free to ask questions. And this will be a very interactive session. So please make use of this time and learn from our experiences. So over to you, Akshat.
Okay, thank you, Bharath, and good evening, everyone, for joining this session today. My name is Akshet Patel, and I am an MSc in Robotics and Computation student at University College London. And before wasting, like, I don't want to waste time, and so let's just directly jump into the session. And before that, I would like to take a short poll and make this interaction very, very interactive. And I would like the audience to participate because this won't be one of those sessions where I will be speaking and you will be listening to the radio. So you can join in the session using this QR code. You can scan this QR code using your phones, or you can log into your browser and type menti.com, and you may enter the code which is as shown, that is 83867187. It is very user friendly interface. So let's begin.
Yep.
So this is a bit about me, and you can use this QR code to connect with me on LinkedIn. So if you want, you can take a screenshot and then scan it later on, or you can use your phone to scan it through the screen right now. So I'll just wait for 10 seconds for you to do that, and then we'll begin. So as Bharat already told, I am a former research intern at NTU Singapore, and I'm also a former research intern at MyTax at Lakehead University, Canada. And I've done a few internships here and there as well. So I am in that position to share whatever I know, and I believe in sharing 100% I know. I don't believe in hiding my LOR and my resume and things like that. But SOP is where I draw a boundary, where I will not share my SOPs, but I can guide you. So okay, let's proceed. Okay, so just let me know in like one or two sentences what is your idea of research internships so that I can know what you think about research internships, and in particular what you think about NTU Singapore internship or MyTax Canada or something else you might know about. So just a few responses will help me to understand you better. Okay, that's fine if you have no idea, it's okay. Exciting, that's also okay, but okay, yeah, that is what I'm looking for. Working with professors helps in higher studies, yes. World class networking, OP, amazing. Exploring your domain, yeah. Experience, okay, everything is correct. So now I know that all of you are having the same mindset. Okay, I just want to know what your academic background is. The responses are anonymous. I don't want to know who is responding, but I still want to know what is the average of the entire audience listening to me, because in that way I'll tailor my session. Because see, you cannot explain any stories to an animal. That's great. It's above 8. Good to know. You can lie, of course, but I would prefer if you not. Okay, so we have 12 responses and the average has slid down to 7.5. Okay, that's great. I think all of you must have attended online sessions and given online exams, so your current CGPA is high. Try to maintain that, otherwise people will know. We have 22 responses, so okay, let's wait for one more. Or okay. That's great. That means every one of you is focused and you have an ideal CGPA of 7.8. But minimum CGPA of at least 8 is required for NTU. And if you are aiming for higher studies and one of the top higher studies in the world, then it's 8.5. So expect and aim at least 9.5 so that you may land above 9. Okay, you can just use the slider to rate your application skills. That's how aware you are about the application procedure. How well you think your resume is, how well you think your LOR is, how well you think you can write or draft your SOP. Okay, so it's almost like 50-50. You're not very sure, and LOR is where you need more help, so I'll be focusing more on LOR. And that is the reason I take these polls to understand you better so that I can spend more time on that particular topic. So I appreciate every one of you to join this and given your input so that I can tailor my talk accordingly. So the entire
Perfect.
audience average is just 4.2. So that's fine, but it's a bit less. So
Yeah, looks
I'll
like
wait
the
for like
resume has the highest,
resume as the highest because I I'm expecting everyone to at least have created one resume in their lives. LOR not so much because you will not require LORs in your second or third year unless you are applying for like proper jobs or part-time jobs.
that's right.
And okay, let's proceed. We have a total of 41 participants and we have 29 responses. So I repeat the instructions again. If you want to join in this slideshow, then you may log into menti.com and use the code 83867187 to interact with me directly. You'll see a question and answer tab there. So if you have any questions, you can ask directly during the conversation and then we'll take it up in the end. So I think that's enough and we'll proceed to the next slide. And we are almost at the end of it. So I just want to know what you all are looking for so that I can focus more on that aspect. So please tell me if your tentative choice for your career. Okay, that's good to know about the entrepreneurship. Okay, that's great. 29 responses. Let's wait for 10 more seconds then. So most of you all are aiming for higher studies, but at the same time, almost half of you want to pursue a job. I'm not sure how a research internship will help you in the job, but the way I look at it is if the work is helping you up your skills, it is relevant to what you want to work on and it is relevant to your future aspirations, then it doesn't matter if you do a research internship or you do at some software firm. So let's proceed. So have you used Mentimeter before? I just want to know if you have because I am on this goal to spread it as much as possible.
I think definitely this looks interesting. So we'll
Yeah,
be using
so
Menti
people
hereafter.
yeah, people are aware about Menti and they have used it. So in the future, maybe if you are in my position, I urge you all to use this because it is interactive. It will not make you fall asleep and it's fun to use. So we have 28 responses and let's continue. Okay, I just want to know if you enjoyed it and it's okay if you didn't. I'm not here to please you all, but if you will, just let me know because I want to keep this as my personal achievements, whether I am able to convey what I know and whether you are going to use it or no. Okay, so we have 27 responses. So I think we are almost at the end of it. And thank you for your time and bearing me with this presentation. But let us all begin with the
Yes.
actual presentation now. So, Bharat, will you start the give the introduction about research internships and all?
Yeah, I'll share my screen.
Yeah, let me just interrupt in first.
Yeah.
You all can use the question answer tab on your Menti screens, and you can ask me questions directly. At any point of time, I will be monitoring the questions, and if there is something that I want to address immediately, then I will do that. And that's all. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll begin with our title, which is we are focusing on NTU in this talk, but we'll also cover other research internships, and we'll also be covering how to cold mail, different techniques to use to cold mail. So, and this was a rip-off from the previous year's research internship talk. It was done by Nimisha and me. So, yeah, moving on. So why do you think we need to, do a research internship? So a research internship gives you hands-on experience on the domain which you are interested to, pursue. So, and it also adds it also adds to your resume and you build projects. So it not only helps you for your higher studies, but when you go to placements, in your interviews for placements, you can talk about your research internships and the projects you've done. So say you're working on ML, your project which you did in the research internship can also be explained in your interview rounds. It could be helpful that way. And research internships help you discover which domain you're interested in. And that was very important personally for myself. I was able to I'm really in that I was able to understand that I was really interested in working on a specific uh, tech. And research internships give you how academic research is carried out. You get to work with professors and you get to publish papers with them, so you know how academic research is carried out and how it is translated. So, and it gives you a wide network, as we already discussed. You can connect with a lot of people if you're doing a research intern. And finally, graduate applications mainly look at research internships as a major plus, as these boost your research profile. So yeah, these are basically why you should do a research internship. And so moving on. So what internship should you apply to? Is it should you just go on Google, randomly start typing I want to apply to a research internship, or how is it? You have to reverse engineer it. So you have to first understand which domain you're interested in. So after fixating on your domain and which domain you want to explore on, you have to reverse engineer and come back, and then you have to start exploring research interns and look at the professor's profile, and start cold mailing them or start applying to programs like NTU, Charpak, and there are different programs we'll be discussing now. So, and yeah, to you, Akshat. So he'll be taking over the process of application.
Can you please unshare your screen?
Yeah, let me do that.
Thank you. Is it visible now? Is the screen visible?
Yeah, it is visible. Yeah.
Okay, so let's focus on NTU India Connect internship. And let me begin by the most important part of this internship, that is the applications. And we'll begin with your transcripts because that is the most important part. And I think NTU focuses more on your marks and your CGPA. So you are required to at least have a CGPA up till your current semester of around 8, and that is the minimum that they accept. And the more CGPA you have, the better chances you have, because CGPA may not judge your skills or abilities, but it is definitely a sign that you are a disciplined student. And professors for research internships are looking for students who are willing to work and are willing to put in the efforts and are disciplined enough. So they will judge you by your marks. If you have low marks but you have a lot of experience and you have displayed your experience through your projects or your past experiences like internships, then your chances will increase even though you don't have a certain amount of marks. But that is a very rare case, and provided the reviewer reviews your application thoroughly. So transcripts are very important, and it is very, very important for you to have a good CGPA. And I would recommend a CGPA of above 9, because that is the safest, and it sounds good. And everyone in the world knows that India is very relaxed in giving the students the CGPA. I'm not talking about IITs and NITs, but private universities or any other universities, they are pretty relaxed to offer CGPAs to the students. So you should work on your academics as well. The second thing is your resume, and looking from the poll, I know that most of you all already have a resume, but there are a few points that I would like to discuss in the resume domain when we move on to the particular aspect in detail. So it is the most important part because that is like advertisement leaflet of yourself consolidated in 1 or 2 pages. And I would personally recommend 1 page resume because, as a BTech student currently in the second or the third year, you don't have a lot of things to write in 2 pages. And you don't need to write descriptions for your projects and your internships. You just need to highlight what you have done. You just need to quantify your things and you can mention it in bullet points. Nobody's going to spend time reading your essays and what you have done and what the project was about. Nobody's interested to do that. So it is better if you hyperlink those projects, upload them on GitHub and hyperlink those projects and internships. But you shouldn't write more details about it unless they specifically ask you to do so. And for NTU, I don't think they ask you to give any more details about what you have already done. So your resume should be short and crisp, and it should look good. It should look dense, because a densely populated resume gives the reviewer an impression that okay, the student has worked on something, the student knows something, and let me put in like 5 minutes reviewing this resume. If your resume is very has too much white space and is very shattered and shabby, then I don't think it makes a good impression on the reviewer's mind. So that will affect your chances, because they are not just reviewing your application, but they have 500 and thousands of applications with them. The next is your letter of recommendation, and most of you all don't have any experience drafting your letter of recommendations. So the thing with LORs is it is ideally required by the professor to provide you with the LOR. But in India, in most of the universities, your professor will ask you to draft the LOR, will ask you to draft the points that are required for that particular application, and then they will take it from you. They will review it, edit it if required, and then they'll sign it and print it on the letterhead of the university and give it to you. So LOR is important, but you should be very, very strategic about your LORs. We'll discuss that, and I'll also show you my LOR after when we reach the particular point. And write up on your research interests. This is an optional thing that is not required by NTU, but it is highly appreciated if you do that, because it makes you much more determined for that application, that you have actually spent your time in writing about your research interests and writing about why you want to pursue that internship. And please, for the love of God, don't use ChatGPT to draft your research interests and to draft SOP. Like, 2 months has passed after they rolled out ChatGPT to the public, and I think they also have an encryption now, and softwares are able to detect what is your writing and what is ChatGPT is writing. So please don't do that. And you know more than any other AI software or any other person, so you should write it all by yourself. It doesn't matter if you can frame fancy sentences, if your vocabulary is very extensive, it doesn't matter, because all it matters is your story and your willingness to do the project. People are not looking for somebody who can write a fancy SOP, or they have an exceptional LOR. They are looking for somebody who can work, who is willing to work, who is determined, and also have the right skill set. Let's move on to the resume. So,
Just to, double back down on your point.
mhm.
So for the transcripts, it is a, minimum requirement for the student to be a fifth semester student. So few students came up to me and asked me about not receiving their transcripts for the fifth semester. So you have to get a bona fide from the college or from your department saying that we have not received the transcript, and you have to share it with your NTU coordinator after your application. So that way it could be handled. And yeah, resume building. We also are looking forward to have a resume building workshop in a week or two. So we could take insights from there too. So yeah, up to you. Akshat.
Okay, thank you. And I agree with whatever you said. And moving on to the resume, and the points justify everything that a resume requires. You should keep it simple and crisp. No need to write entire sentences. You need to put in bullet points. And of course, it should not repeat any information, and prioritize your projects according to your domain and tailor your resume according to the application. If you're applying to multiple research internships, then you should tailor every resume according to that internships. You should move on to the skills section that they require, and you should put those keywords in your resume, because most of the times these resumes are scanned by some AI or some software. So if the keywords don't match your resume, then they are just going to neglect your resume. So maximum 2 pages, yeah, that's correct. And yeah, that's what I said. So you stick to 1 page because you don't have a lot to write, and you shouldn't write for more than 2 pages, or at least even 1 page, because nobody has the time to read your resume for an internship, which is a program. So since this is a program, they are going to receive like thousands of applications from all over India. So if your resume is like 3 pages, I don't think people are going to spend that time in reviewing all the 3 pages. If you have something important on your second page, then there are chances that it might be missed. So it's better to stick to 1 page. Use 2 column resume for better viewing, and it looks dense. But if you have a single column, that's fine as well. But you can use LaTeX editors, and I personally use Overleaf. So my current CV is generated using LaTeX. So use that. It takes a bit of a learning curve to adapt to LaTeX, but you will figure it out because it's very, very user friendly. And I will be showing my resume and my LOR once I'm done with the individual aspects. So next thing is writing your LOR. So yeah, the first thing is approaching the right people. You should approach the professor with whom you have worked, or the professor that who taught you, and or somebody under whose guidance you did your research. So nobody is going to give you an LOR if you are just directly going to approach them all of a sudden without them knowing you. So it's better to know the people, to talk to them, to create a rapport with your teachers, and only then approach for the LOR. And make sure that they agree to write you a positive LOR. I have seen a few teachers who also add a few negative points to your LOR. So make sure that you all are on the same page, and then you approach the teacher. And don't use online templates because that's very, very generic. You can write your own LOR. Just imagine yourself taking an interview of yourself. So the questions that you will ask, write the answers in your LOR. Whatever skills your application requires, you should have that skills. And LOR is a proof of your skills that you mention on your resume. So for example, if you have worked under Professor X for a project, then your LOR, you should take your LOR from Professor X, mentioning your details about that project and how you performed. What was your performance? How did you qualify for that project, and how did you perform, and what achievement did you achieve? And if you're taking it from a teacher, a faculty member, then they should write about your class participation, your marks, your determination and willingness to attend the lectures, your attentiveness. Such things should be highlighted in your LOR, and you should also personalize it very well. So don't copy your friend's LOR, or don't take ideas directly from Google or any other uh, template that you find online. It is useful to refer to them first and then draft your own LOR. But if you are copy pasting a few lines, then that is not very useful. So you just have to prove what you said in your resume and your application, and you need to get it from the professor, because I don't think any professor is going to sign the LOR if you write fake things in that LOR, because that is a fraud that your professors might commit, and I don't think anyone will do that. So approach the right people, write the truth, and just personalize everything that you can, because nobody knows you better than yourself. Okay, so this is
And
very self-explanatory. Do you want to add on something?
no, Akshat, so it is your presentation is stuck at the resume slide. I think, is it because of your internet connection or
Let me just reshare.
yeah,
What slide can you see now?
yeah. Right now I'm saying the yellow as well.
Okay, so can you see it shifting?
Yeah, it is probably yeah.
Okay, so the next topic, before we go on to the next topic, let me quickly share my resume and LOR. That I'll first share my resume that I used to apply to NTU, and you can see that there are a ton of mistakes in that resume, and I won't be able to comment on every single mistake that I made, but you can email me or message me on LinkedIn if you want your resume to be reviewed, and I'll just spend 5-10 minutes to get a few points and give it to you if you are interested. So this is the LOR that I used for applying to NTU India Connect, and you can see that there is a lot of white spaces here, here, and there, even here. So that is not very ideal and it doesn't look good. But you can observe that I also hyperlink my projects, and I have hyperlinked whatever I can. So all of these projects are hyperlinked, and even the certificates that I received from extracurricular participation and whatever I could hyperlink, I have done that. And the major thing that I missed was I did not hyperlink any of my research papers. So these are not hyperlinked. So that's the mistake I made. And if you have research papers already, so you should hyperlink whatever you can. And that's all for the resume section. Please mention your email ID, your LinkedIn profile. It's not necessary to mention your phone number or the place where you come from, but I had done that, and I don't think it's necessary. This is the resume that I used to apply to NTU. Can you
So
see my resume changing now?
yeah.
So this is my resume, which I created a few months ago. Uh, I think 6 to 7 months ago. So this was after my NTU internship. So you can take a screenshot if you want, but as you can see, I have now hyperlinked all my papers, and I have rectified the mistakes that I made in my previous resume. And then I found that I need to cut short a few things from my resume because there is no space. So then I moved on to curriculum vitae, that is CV. So I used LaTeX to draft this 3-page CV, and here I've mentioned all my projects in detail. I've hyperlinked all of them and also mentioned every single thing that I've done till now. And it's a bit more detailed, and it's useful if you're applying to a particular job or a research application, a research internship, or some position, because it gives you a detailed overview. So I am showing this resume because I'm showing the CV because it might be helpful for you to send the CV when you're cold emailing the professor. Because when you cold email, there are chances that the professor might only review your application or your resume or your documents. So you will be the only one. So there are high chances that they might scroll through every single page of your resume and take a look at what you have to offer. So it's better if you use a CV rather than a resume when you cold email teachers. And this was the LOR that I used when I applied for NTU India Connect. So I approached my head of the department and asked sir to give me the LOR, which I had drafted earlier, and then it was later edited by them. So I did not pursue any research experience under his guidance, but he was my teacher for a few subjects, and that is what I mentioned more about it in my LOR. So that's what I wanted to share. I think the meeting is already getting recorded, so you might already have access to my documents. And let me quickly share. Yeah. So let us move
Just
on to the NTU timeline. It is
yeah,
self-explanatory. I don't think I need to explain the timeline. Just don't be too late to apply. Don't apply on the last day. And right now, I think NTU has made a provision. I think they have capped the limit of number of applications. They are only asking you to apply if your university is a partner university with NTU. So make sure you get in touch with your department, your international affairs department, or your compliances, or whoever overlooks this issue, and you ask them for more information about the partnership and whether they can provide you with the application link, and only then you can apply. But this information is not, the entire session is not just focused on NTU. We'll talk about more internships and how to apply in general as well. uh, did my screen change?
yeah, it is changing.
Okay,
I
so
just had one more point, Akshay. So if you're pursuing, software projects, adding your GitHub profile to the resume will also,
yeah,
positively benefit your
correct, yeah.
application. So that is one
Yes,
more
yes.
point. Yeah.
Adding your GitHub profile, or if you are doing competitive coding and you have a good rank, or even if you have some particular rank on platforms such as LeetCode or HackerRank or HackerEarth or CodeChef, Codeforces, then you can add that as well. If you have won contests, if you have participated in contests and you are shortlisted by top 100 or top 50 or top 10, then you can add those as achievements. If, if you are a software engineer, then you should have a GitHub account. You should have your codes uploaded on GitHub unless they are confidential, because that makes you a determined student. That makes you someone who is aware about their skills and they are ready to learn more because they are advertising it to the crowd. So you should have a GitHub profile. And since I was not from a computer science background, I did my bachelor's in mechatronics engineering, but I still have a GitHub account and I have uploaded all my software related projects on GitHub. I have uploaded my augmented and robotics related projects on GitHub. I have an entire report there. So it's easier for anyone who is reviewing my applications to go through my projects and take a look. I have also hyperlinked videos there so that they don't spend their time and just watch the GIF or the video. So your entire task is to make it easier for the reviewer to review your application. That's all. They are not there to do you a favor. They are on a time crunch. They are doing a job which they probably won't like. So you should make them happy by whatever you can, because your application for you is important, but for them, it's not important. It's just one out of 5,000. So they don't care who you are, whose application is it. But for you, your application is the sole thing that belongs to you. So you should put more efforts to it and don't apply on the last date, because it definitely won't work out very well. So the next thing is, what does NTU applications require? It requires you to select three projects in the order of your preference, and all of these project lists can be accessed by you on their website. It is already there, and they have divided it into schools, so you can select your school and you can apply to projects. But remember that you cannot pursue mechanical engineering and apply to some psychology based projects, because that's just wrong. So you make sure that your projects lie in your domain. Make sure to apply it to things that are related to your field of interest and research, and don't just apply blindly, because it they will directly reject you. Then, as I said, you need two letter of recommendations. They call it the academic referee letters, and this will be taken from teachers who taught you. So please approach teachers who taught you, and just take those subjects where you performed well. Don't approach a teacher whose class you just barely passed or you passed with a C grade. Don't approach those teachers, because that will create a bad impression. So just approach a teacher who knows you well, you got good grades in that particular subject, and request them for a referee letter. The recommendation letter is from is from your college, and I think Bharat should clarify more about the differences between a referee letter and a recommendation letter.
Yeah, so the referee letter is from your from the professor you have worked with or who has taught you, and the recommendation letter is from your department so it's basically the international affairs office which is present in every college that recommends. But if your college doesn't have an international affairs office, say in my college, SSN College of Engineering, they don't have an international affairs office. So basically, their department gives you a letter of recommendation, which you'll submit in the application. So that's the
Okay.
difference.
Okay, thank you so much. And the next thing is transcript and resume, and there's a checklist for you. I've also pasted a screenshot on the slide. That's the checklist you need, and there's nothing more you need to do on your end. You just need to have these documents ready before the application, and let's proceed.
So yeah, one
So,
more thing, Akshat.
mhm,
So for the checklist part, what I had to do was, fill up a sheet of paper.
PDF.
Yeah, and scan it and upload it in my application. So I wasn't sure of that. So please make sure you do that if it's mentioned. So don't postpone your applications towards the end. So you might
Yeah,
not know, what all is left over, right? So that's awesome.
that's correct. So I think we have discussed everything that NTU application requires. And I think you should mention about this because it was your point. So you can talk
Yeah.
about how to make your application stand out.
Yeah. So basically, what I did was I got two letters of recommendation from my two professors, and I submitted it in my application. And and I had a third professor write a mail to my uh, project guides in NTU. So basically, he recommended my application by mailing the professor at NTU. So I heard about this method through my senior who at SSN who had applied, and she got in through the same way. So it's basically a personal anecdote, but yeah, it worked out for me, it worked out for her. So usually professors, they tend to receive a lot of emails from students, so they tend to go through not go through those emails. But when a professor is mailing you directly, it is taken with much more importance. So this technique has its own pros and cons. I have mentioned the pros, and the cons would be that few professors might not like to be mailed. So it is always a gamble, because NTU hasn't mentioned anything about mailing professors. It has not said do not mail professors like my tax does. So it is always a gamble, but I took it. My senior at SSN had taken it. So I would recommend you guys also to do that, because it will be really helpful for your application.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And did the screen
So
change?
yeah, let me share my screen. So yeah, here we are. So SRFP, it is called the Summer Research Fellowship Program. It is basically for IISCs, IITs, and different other institutes. So basically, the application for SRFP is over. So this is basically for the juniors, the second years who can apply next year. So start preparing your application from now on. So what all you need are the your transcripts from 10 standard and 12 standard, and your semester mark sheets, again the transcripts. So you have to do three write-ups here. For usually there is only one write-up for internships, but you have to do three write-ups here. One is on your technical interests, one is on your extracurricular activities, and one is on the projects and relevant work experience you've had. So when you're doing the write-up on your technical interests, uh, you'll have to look up the profile of the different professors you're applying to at IIScs and IITs, and you'll have to match you know your writing and your area of interest with the area of interest of the other professors. So basically, you don't here in SRFP, you don't get to choose the project titles like we do in NTU. NTU, you can choose three project titles as Akshat mentioned, right? You can choose, you can give a preference order. But in SRFP, it is not like that. It is basically you just give your SOP and the professor chooses you. So you have to, be specific on what project you have to work on, and what project title you're really, what project or area of interest you're really interested in. So it is basically your write up on technical interests and your relevant experience that will help you bag an internship at SRFP, and it is quite competitive. But yeah, you can always apply, and you know, uh, you can always apply. So then next is a super competitive one. It is the Robotics Institute of Summer Scholars program by Carnegie Mellon University. As if you don't know, Carnegie Mellon University is a very top is a top ranked university for artificial intelligence, robotics, and computer science. So it is one of the top ranked universities, and so and for the application for RISs, it actually got over yesterday. So again, juniors, you can apply next year, and so you can just go through the application procedure, which is online, which is basically simple. You'll have to again give an SOP of your interests and your research area. You have to have one LOR compulsorily uploaded by your professor in the website, and you have to give your personal details, transcripts, and etc. And you'll have to choose from a list of professors. You'll have to choose some 5 to 6 professors. In here in RISs, you won't be given project titles. You'll have to choose only your professors. So based up, you have to look up their work. You have to, look at what the professor is working on and what he's willing to work, by going through their lab website, by going through their Google Scholar. And importantly, I wanted to, cover this for NTU too. We'll just come back after we finish RISS. So next, yeah, moving forward, RISS application includes, as I said, resume, transcripts, recommendations, and a statement of purpose. And even here, statement of purpose is very important. Even Akshat stressed the importance of a very good SOP, which can right away bag you an internship given your profile. So yeah, so going back, you know, so what I did to shortlist professors was to, I just there'll be a list of professors given in the NTU website. If you go, you don't have to log in to, know this, get to see this list of professors. So what I did was I basically started seeing the professors which are interested in my domain. So I was working on machine learning mostly. So I went and checked all the professors, went to their Google Scholar pages, checked their citations. So just by checking the citations, there'll be a H index, and you can know the, research impact a professor has had. So based on the research impact, you will know how competitive it is to apply to this, professor. So I made this mistake while I was applying to my tax. I went and applied for all, high profile projects, which were highly competitive. So I didn't keep any moderate or safe projects for myself. So um, I don't want you guys to repeat the same mistake. So which is why you have to go through the research impact of each professor and decide which is suitable for you, right? So, and yeah, coming back, yeah. So there are different great international opportunities. Dart Visa is an opportunity for working with German universities with and German professors, and you get a fully funded scholarship to work in the summer. And but the it is also a highly competitive program, and you need minimum of more than 9 CGP of more than 9. And usually according to me, I've seen people only with 9.5 to get selected. But do not let this demotivate you. Just prepare well for your exams, because academic CGPA is also really important. So Dart Visa is that way. So for Dart Visa, Dart Visa and Charpak. Charpak is for working with French institutions. So for Dart Visa and Charpak, you have to cold mail professors, and you have to mail them to get the letter of acceptance from the universities before actually applying. But for NTU it's different. You just apply by giving the name of the professor. But for Dart Visa or Charpak, you have to approach the university first, get the letter of approval saying that okay, I'm going to let you work in France, or I'm going to let you work in Germany in this university with this professor. You're going to get a letter from the university, and then you have to even provide that letter during your application. So that is how it is. So Charpak application is still open. Charpak is a program between French and Indian universities. It's a memorandum of understanding. So Charpak is the deadline for Charpak is on Feb 13th. So start mailing, cold mailing professors. We'll see how to cold mail and start mailing professors, and get your uh, research interns application started. So, and CERN, it is a organization in Europe which mostly works on nuclear energy. It is a very reputed organization. So you have open lab interns and you have summer interns. So go check the application out. The deadline is 30th January again. So it is all, pretty close. And USC Viterbi also has a summer research internship program, which has a deadline on 10th February. It is also a competitive program, but check out the application. MyTax, yeah. So Akshat has interned as a MyTax Global Link scholar, so I'd like to hear from him about his experience and applications.
Okay, so for the MyTax internship, it's a 12-week long or 3-month long internship that you need to apply through MyTax Global Link Research Internship Platform. And MyTax acts as a governing body between the students and the professors. So professor will post their projects on the MyTax platform. The students will review those projects on the MyTax platform. I think there are about 2,000 projects or 3,000 projects. I can't remember. So you can check all the projects that are offered by different professors from different universities in Canada, and then you can apply to those projects. My tax application is a bit extensive. I think I would consider it more extensive than NTU Singapore. But the thing with MyTax is, since AICT is now promoting MyTax applications from all over India now, the competition is too high. And even this year, many of the students were considered for the internship and then later they were rejected. So they got a consideration email and then they were rejected. So make sure to have proper excellent credentials and make your application strong. Just don't apply for the sake of applying, because my tax have now become very, very competitive in nature, because I think it operates in 12 countries and India is the biggest country among them. So my experience was very good, considering that the internship was online, because I was a MyTax 2021 intern, which was operated online, but I still got paid a stipend, and we published 2 research papers in as book series. So after the internship, so it was pretty good. I got to learn a lot. I got to meet a few people from Canada as well, because they used to organize a few events online, and that is how my experience with my tax was has been. But if you want to apply to my tax internship, then you should start earlier. You cannot just apply in one day, because it takes a lot of time for you to refine your application, because it is a bit more competitive than NTU Singapore. So that's my take on my tax internship. But the plus add-on is, if you don't know about my tax, it's a fully paid internship. So they will even compensate you for your flight tickets. They will give you travel allowance. They will give you some living expenses as well. And they will cover all of your costs. And you will be invited for a few sessions that MyTax conducts in Canada in different places. So you will get a lot of perks. You will get a lot of international exposure, and you will also get research hands-on experience as well. So MyTax is a good opportunity, but I think the applications start in the month of August and they are for 1 month period. So you start early, start looking it up in June or July, and then make your application stronger and stronger every passing day. So I don't know much about Adobe Women in Tech Scholarship and Surge. So do you want to take it up or shall we move on?
Yeah, so let me just give a short, brief, introduction on the Adobe Women in Tech. So it is one of the most prestigious scholarships which is given by Adobe. They basically uh, provide you provide you an intern at Adobe. It is for the female candidates, and only if I'm right, only 4 to 6 women across India are selected for the Adobe Women in Tech Scholarship, and Adobe basically funds your education after you become a Adobe Women in Tech scholar for your undergraduate. So it is a very, honorable program. And Surge is IIT Kharagpur's program, and please check the application out. It is mostly similar to what we have seen. The application deadline is 15th February. So yeah, we can move on to cold emailing. Akshat.
Okay. Let's move on to cold emailing. And if you don't know what cold emailing is, there is a definition right there. But it means that you just need to email a particular professor or a research associate or somebody that you want to approach for a particular position or an opportunity. So you directly write, draft an email, give them all of your information, and attach proper documents as drive links. I think it's not mentioned in the points, but you mentioned your documents in as drive links because most of the times it might be considered as spam. So again, it's a gamble and a bargain that you have to do. If you don't hear from them after attaching your documents, then you can re-email them saying that I'm re-emailing it because I think that this might have classified as spam. So I have attached the drive links to this email. Then the next thing you have to focus is you tailor your message to the recipient because since they are not expecting your email, since they are already busy in their work, you need to know what time that email will land in their inbox. So if you're emailing some professor from Canada, then you make sure that you know what time zone they are in and email, when will they open that email. And it is advised to drop in your emails a few minutes before 9 a.m. because most of the universities and teachers start their day at 9 a.m. So your email will be on top of that list. So at least they will flag that email or go through them quickly. And you need to provide credentials. You need to uh, show them who you are. Why are you writing that email? In short, they don't have time to read your essay. So you need to mention everything in short, and it's okay to use bullet points. You need to make your email easier for the reviewer to read and respond to. If you want to ask them a particular question, then you should mention that question as points so that they can just reply, okay, point number one, the answer is this. Point number two, the answer is this. That's all. They're not going to spend time in formalities and replying to you in a very well structured way. And that is what my experience was. So keep it short and appreciate them for their work. You need to mention what inspired you, what intrigued you, what they are doing, how did you come to know about them, and why are you writing that email? Why do you want to pursue that particular opportunity? So you need to validate yourself first, and then you need to attach proper documents that might be required for your reviewer to get to know you better because they don't know you. You are drafting a cold email. So I'll show you an example of cold email that I had emailed to the senior scientist of DRDO Care Lab. So I'll show you that email and I'll show you what documents I had attached and I'll tell you my journey once we move on to the next part. So there are a few templates online, but I would strongly urge you to not use templates. It's okay to just refer to them and take an idea of what you need to mention. You need to mention your name, what year you are in, what is your university, and what is your university tenure. That means if you are a third year, second year, or fourth year student. And then you need to write the purpose of that email in one sentence because they will not spend time reading anything that you write in a very brief manner. Then you need to mention the purpose of that email. You need to mention why. You need to answer all the WH questions. So why do you want to apply to that particular opportunity? And why are you a best fit? And don't directly write that you are willing to work unpaid or don't mention anything about finances when you write your cold email because I think it's a letdown. It's an it's considered as an insult because you're assuming that okay, the professor is not going to fund me anyway, so let me just write okay, I'm ready for an unpaid internship. So don't bring finances at all. It's not required when somebody is, who's strange to you reads your email. So if they have any questions, they will revert back to you, and be prepared to not hear from anyone. Cold emailing doesn't always work. It works only like 2 or 3% of times, and most of the times, even after cold emailing, if the professors are, or the people that you cold email to are polite enough, they will say that even if they reply, the chances of that email being a positive response will be very less because you just think about it mathematically. You don't have a probability, or you have a possibility, but you don't have a good probability. So make sure you advertise yourself in short, to the point, and that should intrigue the reader in like 5 seconds, because that is the attention span that anyone would spend on a cold email. Make sure you write the head subject line very well so that they know what the email is about with your subject line. And these are, I think, two templates that you can refer to, but don't use them because you can draft a good cold email if you want, if you know what you want to do, and if you can advertise yourself in the best possible way. So these are a few tips on cold emailing. You can manage all your cold emails using this extension, Chrome extension. And see, that's what I said. You try sending that email in the morning. Don't send too many emails, and definitely don't repeat your email. Only repeat it if you feel that that professor is the most relevant, the professor's work is most relevant to your work, and if they have not responded, but only after 5 to 7 days. So if also consider any public holidays or any holidays that might be there in their country, and then you follow up, and also mention why you are following up, and apologize for following up on a cold email if they don't reply. And then you can ask what the problem is, or whether what is the status of your application. So yeah, everything that I mentioned before is already mentioned in this slide. So you can visit this slide. I think Bharat will share all these slides to you so that you can refer to these uh, links.
We'll be sharing
But
it
let
later.
me just quickly share the template that, not the template, that email that I drafted for my DRDO application. Okay, so this was the application email that I used for my DRDO internship, and I made a very huge subject line so that they know what I am trying to seek, what I want to do. I wouldn't recommend it because it might look a bit clunky. So it's a judgment call. If you like what you're doing, then you do that. Otherwise, you don't. But I self-emailed me to see how it looks like, and then you take a decision. And just write your email in a very crisp manner. You don't have to write all of your experiences because you're already attaching different documents to that email. Just mention your phone number because if you're applying to some professor in India, then they might directly call you. And in my case, when I applied to the laboratory at DRDO, the principal scientist directly called me up and referred my email for that interview. And for most of the DRDO labs or CSIR labs, that third party emails are blocked. So I applied to 11 DRDO labs, and this was the first lab that I applied to because it was related to artificial intelligence and robotics. And this was the only lab where my email landed in their inbox, and they reverted back to me. So there are pretty good chances if you give them what they want, and you write a proper email, and you make sure that you follow up if you don't hear from them after 5 to 7 days. So that's all I wanted to share about cold emailing, and I think Bharat will take over from here for about Charpak.
Yeah. I had a clarification. So it was basically a application program, and you had cold emailed also to ensure.
No, 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 no. The thing
Okay.
that DRDO internships work is you can either cold email during any time of the year, or you can fill out the application when the labs roll out their applications. But the probability of you getting an internship or a chance when they officially roll out the application is too less, because most of the MTech students or the PhD holders will apply to DRDO labs for a position. So you being a student will hinder your chances, according to me. So the strategy I used was I applied to these emails in the month of, I'm not very sure, let me just check, in the month of October. So for my January internship, so that I can spend at least 5 to 6 months working at DRDO labs. And you can directly cold email the scientists at DRDO, and they will revert back to you if your profile matches their requirements and if you're qualified enough to work there. So I think it works most of the times, because a lot of my friends also got acceptances from DRDO labs. So it works.
Right. That's good to hear, Akshat. So I wanted to add one more point for cold emailing. So basically, one more thing to avoid while cold emailing is mailing the same uh, same department professors at the university. So you don't mail two professors at the same department in a university uh, in a very short span of time. That would also classify your email as spam. So and so these links and will be shared with you with the presentation. So coming back and to Charpak, as I said, it is a 2 month summer internship program for uh, working at the French institutions. And so basically the application is quite extensive than NTU and MyTax, because you have to start cold mailing French institutions, labs, and the professors to get a letter of acceptance from them before you are start applying to Charpak scholarship program. So it is quite extensive and you have to start a little early because, as Akshat mentioned, cold mailing produces less probability of replying back to mails. But please don't lose hope, you know. But keep on trying for while you cold mail professors, because you never know when you get lucky and when you give when you're at the right time for things to happen. So, and a typical Charpak application has, scanned, you have to provide a scanned copy of your passport. You have to provide a CV, as Akshat mentioned, resume and CV. Please try to understand the difference between a resume and a CV. CV is a more detailed version of your resume. You have to extend it, and even CV has a limit of 2 pages here. And as I said, you have to give the acceptance letter from the French institution, and you have to give your transcripts and a no objection certificate from your institution. And a recommendation letter for this internship is not mandatory, is what I saw on the website. So it may not be required, but it would a good like a letter of recommendation, a personalized one would obviously boost your chances of getting in. So yeah, the it started in December. The application started process started in December, and the deadline is 13th February. So make sure you get your letter of acceptances and start applying as soon as possible. And the results will be declared in the mid of March. So these are a few links. First one is the NTU, second one is the CME programs link, third is the summer research program, and fourth is a very pretty interesting one where it is a GitHub repository with a collection of different research internships, international and national. It has a vast collection of internship resources, and you can check this out. We'll share the slides. Please do check out this GitHub repository. So yeah, that's it from my end. We hope you get an internship and hope this talk had helped you. And we can go back to answering questions. So, Akshay, do you want to share
Yeah,
the
I
screen?
do.
Yeah,
I do have a list of questions.
all right.
Let
Yeah,
me quickly share the slide.
yeah,
Okay. So coming to your questions, is my
yeah.
screen visible?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay. So Bhaiya, how much knowledge do we need for a particular subject for applying research internship? Like, suppose I want to do it on data science ML, but how much knowledge should I have before applying? It depends on what you want to apply to. If you are applying for something that requires, you need to know the requirements of the particular opportunity. If this is a self introspection question, because if you already have some experience, then you know what you can do, what you can offer. Basically, these people are looking for something that you can offer. They shouldn't spend time in teaching you things. You should self learn things, and you should be able to pick it up with a good speed. And it's okay to not know much, but it's very very essential to for you to be determined about it, and you to work hard before you apply to these internships. And at least you should know the basics. You should have worked on a few projects about it, and you should be in that position to apply what you have learned theoretically, because that is what these professors or anyone that you apply to look for. Everything is happening on a practical scale, so you should know how to apply it in real life. If you say that you are interested in machine learning but you don't know how to code a KNN algorithm or a decision tree algorithm, then nobody is going to select you.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
if you are interested in data science, so you should know what are the basic requirements, what are the steps, data pre-processing, how to create the model, how to create a good uh, amount of data. So you should know everything about it, at least on a theoretical level, and you should start applying that knowledge through projects, and only then anyone will uh, select you for that project. Because unless and until you don't prove that you have that skill, nobody's going to believe on your Coursera certificate or your Udemy certificate, because anyone could get that, and you know how easy it is to get those certificates. So I hope that I answered that question. If not, you can just directly write another question if you are still in the meet. So
Yeah,
I'll
I
move on to
just
the next.
want, yeah, I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
wanted
sure,
to
sure.
add, yeah, one more point. So, you know, I'm also working on machine learning, and while applying to my NTU internship, I had, just two or three basic projects, but I had done multiple courses, which also made my application stand out. So it is important to know the theoretical base, as Akshat mentioned, but implementation wise also you'll have to work on a few stuff. But it is not, don't be discouraged, as saying I have very simple projects in data science and ML, because there are a lot of people who don't know the mathematics but still are able to implement. So you can still pick up the math later after you join your internship or join the field. So yeah, that's it.
It doesn't matter if your project is mediocre or if it's a very high level project. You just need to have some experience using those tools, and engineers are basically good with tools. You don't need to know the details and intricacies of how a particular algorithm is working or functioning, but at least you should be in that position to apply that knowledge. You can learn how that algorithm works later on as well, but if you only have the theoretical knowledge and if you don't have the knowledge to implement it, then it is going to be difficult for anyone to accept you. Can BSc students apply for this? And by this, I think you mean the NTU India Connect internship. And I think yes, but you can check their website. They have an entire table for eligibility criteria. And since it is tailored to Indian students, you can find if BSc students are eligible to apply for this. They have it very detailed on their website. They have a detailed table on their website. So I think that answers my question. You can check it out on their website. It's very very user friendly to browse through their website, and just go to NTU India Connect and go to eligibility criteria or something like that, and then you can find it out. So Dart versus my tax. Uh, I'm not in the position to answer this question because I have not pursued Dart internship, or I did not apply to Dart internships because I was too late. But my tax is a great opportunity, speaking from experience, and I know a lot of students who are in contact with me before they went for their actual in-person internship this year. So in 2022, a lot of students went to Canada and they had a very good experience, even academic wise and also exploring wise. So they got to meet a lot of people, they got to explore Canada, and they got to visit a lot of events. So every single week they used to be in some other place or some other city and they would be attending events and posting photos on social media. So that is the life that MyTax can offer along with research publications and hands-on experience. So uh, I don't know if it sounds biased or something, but I would prefer MyTax. But I have no knowledge about that, so I can't speak about it. So I cannot answer the versus question, but I can tell you that MyTax is a pretty good opportunity, and it is also backed by AICTE now.
Yeah,
Or do
one
you
more
want
thing
to
is,
add? Yeah.
yeah, based on a personal, analysis which I have done, it is more difficult to get into Dart because of its extensive application procedure and high GPA requirements. So this is what I feel. So yeah,
Okay, I think this is the somebody who is energetic for the entire thing. Mm, okay. Can you please tell total expenses? Since I did not go to Canada, it was online because of the pandemic. I did not go to Canada and I did not shell out a single rupee for this entire uh, experience. But I did get a certain amount of money after the internship in two installments for my work because that is what they offered for remote interns. So I think it was a pretty good deal, and I think it's more than what uh, a software engineer works for in like 3 months. So it was a good deal, but don't do it for the money because you can earn money just after graduating, but you will not get such experiences after graduating. Nobody's going to call you to Canada for like 12 weeks and just work on something and explore the city and meet new people and then go back. I don't think any opportunity will allow you to do that. So don't focus on expenses, but uh, if you're talking about how much my tax will sponsor, so I think it's everything. Just they take care of everything unless you want to travel business class or something. So they will take care of everything. They will give you a stipend. They will I think give you some housing allowances or something like that. Everything is mentioned on your offer letter, and it varies according to your application and your the place where you're going to. But yeah, they take care of almost everything. So can you tell us about a degree in robotics and also discuss about an ideal profile people applying for it? Okay, so the degree that I am pursuing is MSc in Robotics and Computation that is offered by UCL London, and UCL is one of it's ranked 8 in the world. So the competition in getting into UCL is too high. So you need to have a very good CGPA and you need to have a good amount of internship and experience before you apply to, and at least one research experience is required as far as I know, because it is a uh, it is mainly research oriented, and most of the things that you learn here is all self study and your research interests and understanding. So if you compare it to Indian universities, here people will not spend time in explaining things to you. They will just tell you, okay, you need to understand A, B, C, D, and you just do it on your own. So that's all about my degree in robotics. It is offered by the Department of Computer Science. So I have total of 8 subjects where 4 of them are related to CS and 4 of them are core robotics, because I want to expand my profile and just not constrain it to robotics, because there are not many jobs available in London. It's More jobs are available in USA, but the visa is a huge another story. And the ideal profile I just mentioned, you need to have a very good CGPA. The cutoff was 8.5 CGPA, and my CGPA was 8.7 9.76 after 8 semesters. So I think regarding the CGPA, I was pretty sure that there won't be any problem. But you should also have uh, experience in terms of even volunteering work and your projects, your internships experiences, and you need to have some proof of your skill set. Because even if you get into certain universities abroad, even if you get into a top university, it will be very difficult for you to survive that university if you are not having the particular amount of skill set. So people don't think about surviving the universities. They just think about, okay, applying and getting and securing an admission from that university. Make sure that you know that this is a business. Each university is running a business. They are not giving you education for free. First of all, if you are financially stable enough to pay the fees, if you have the required skill sets, if you have the required marks, if you are eligible for that university, there is no chance they will reject you, because all they are looking for is just another good student that will carry on the legacy of that university. So you are just one element of their statistics. So make sure you decide properly and you focus more on scholarships. And self funding is not much appreciated because these universities suck out all the money that you have. Because once you come here, you will not realize how much you are spending. It's like every single day you are spending around 1000 to 2000 rupees. And this goes on for every top university or every university that is in a very elite location or a very expensive place. So choose your university wisely and make sure you handle the finances. But keep in mind that it is a business and they will offer you the position or the offer from the university if you are eligible properly and if you apply properly. Uh, if you go to a career counselor or a counselor organization, counseling organization, they are going to make this process as if you are going to apply for NASA internship or something like that. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to apply to degrees and studies abroad. You just need to start at the right time and you need to have a certain amount of awareness about how to apply. And this is what you can do by contacting to people on LinkedIn, messaging them about their experiences, asking them and requesting them to share their journey. I did everything by myself. I did not shell out a single rupee in application before applying. So uh, all the documents were written by me. I just messaged people on LinkedIn. I just referred to some online blogs and some templates online, but that's all. Everything was self-written and no external help was required by me, because uh, if you go to some organization, they are just going to suck out money from you, and they will. I think they will charge around 30,000 for SOP and GRE preparation. You can do that all by yourself. Yeah, sure. In the write-up, do we have to mention the name of the professor with whom we want to work? I would suggest no, because you're going to apply to three different projects under three different professors. I hope so. If there is a chance that you apply to three projects under the same professor, then you can mention the name of the professor. But if you're applying to different people, then it makes no sense. You write the name of the professor X where you are applying to the project offered by Professor Y as well. So don't mention the name. It's not required. You should just mention about your interest and why you want to pursue that particular project or internship.
That's right.
How many
For in
LORs? So, okay.
just a point for NTU, it's better not to mention the name of your professor, but for say SRFP, the Summer Search for Fellowship Program for IISc IITs, it is better to mention the name of your professor, because that is the only way your professor knows that it is your that you are willing to work with them. So that is just a point I wanted to add. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Yeah, no, just be aware of what you're applying to and how you're mentioning the name will affect your application. That's all. Take a wise decision. How many LORs? You need one LOR and two refrigerators. Refrigerators can be procured by anyone you have taught you or with whom you have worked. LOR will be issued by your university department or your uh, international collaboration cell. You can talk to Bharath about it if you are from his university. And you need to talk to your international collaborations department if you are watching from some other university, or you can directly contact your HOD and ask them for further guidance. So you need to answer this question, you need two referee letters and one LOR. Is there any significant difference between a CV and resume? Yeah, there is. So CV is a bit more detailed. It's highly detailed, and it's only advisable for you to write your CV if you have a lot of things that you have done which are very significant. You shouldn't, if you are a robotics aspirant, so you shouldn't mention your project in detail where the project is about a line following robot, because that is too generic. If you have provided some value or contributed in some novel fashion, then you can write a CV if you have all such projects. Otherwise, a resume is more than enough because you are still in the second year and nobody expects you to have a lot of experience and a lot of projects under your name. So prefer a resume over a CV, but the CV, the basic difference is a CV is a bit more detailed. In the LOR, it is mentioned that okay, so about ISA, it stands for International Society of Automation, and it is an organization which was founded in the US in around 75 years ago. So they have student chapters, and I was not the founding member. I was the founding president of ISA MUJ chapter. So that is what you might have read on my LOR. So it's about that. So it's just a student chapter that I was appointed as the founding president. It's nothing related to this internship, and it is not generic, so I cannot comment more about it. It's just pointless to talk about it because it's just a non-tech. It's a technical chapter, but it's a non-technical position of leadership. So that part in my LOR was showing the proof for leadership. That's all. As a second year student with limited experience in robotics, what courses or technology should I learn to land a research internship in robotics? You should know at least one programming language because nothing in robotics is going to be without the aid of software. So, if you want to, you need to decide what domain you want to pursue in robotics. Robotics is a huge, huge branch. So, it depends whether you're interested in hardware, if you're interested in software, if you're interested in vision, if you're interested in algorithms and path planning, if you're interested in positioning, every single thing that you can know about. You can even specialize in how the fingers work, or how you can control the motion of the arm, or the trajectory of your robot, or the smoothness with which it takes turns. That is also a specialization because it involves control systems. So what courses or technology should you learn? Is first robot operating system, that is ROS. You need to at least know Python or C++. I would prefer C++ because it is more low level, but students usually are too lazy to learn C++ for ROS, so they just do it in Python. But I did that as well. I was too lazy to do C++, so now I'm struggling with my courses. So that's ROS, C++, and Python. Next thing is if you're interested in CAD, then you should at least know so CAD software or an analysis software. And research internship in robotics can be achieved if you have a certain proof of your robotic skills, because I don't think most universities teach robotics as subjects, or they have many subjects related to robotics. So you should pick what subjects are closely related to robotics, and you need to align that with your interests and the opportunity that you're applying to, and then you apply so that you can land that internship. But it is very difficult for you to get a robotics internship, especially in India, because there are not many openings, and most of these are not very they are not promoting their opportunities, so it's a bit difficult. But yeah, you can definitely get it. One tip to get a robotics internship is to apply to IITs and NITs, and see look up the professors who are working in the field of robotics and control systems. And since you asked about the courses or technology, you can also learn about control systems because it is the most important element, and I think it is a very interesting domain, especially if you are interested in how the basic control works, starting from an open loop controller. So that's all I have to say about robotics. So to summarize, ROS, C++, Python, control systems, CAD if you're interested, and that's all. As a second year student, we don't know how to start and when to start on your and on what skills to improve on. Can you please help us on it? So I know that it is a very difficult time for you all, but how to start? You don't at this point, you might not know what you want to do. So my advice to you is just do everything that you can in at least 6 to 8 months, and then you shortlist the things that interests you the most. If, for example, if I talk about my journey, I started my journey with programming Arduinos, and that was back in my eighth standard. So I started with programming Arduinos, and then I moved on to Raspberry Pi. Then, as college started, for the first 2 years, I did not do anything. At the end of second year, I attended this workshop on IoT, and I was intrigued by IoT. So I thought maybe I could make a career in IoT. But I always knew that I wanted to involve robotics at some point of my life. So that is the reason I took mechatronics engineering. But I was intrigued by IoT, and I worked on IoT for a few months. Even my internship at MyTax Canada was in the domain of IoT security. And then you just eliminate things that don't interest you after a certain amount of time. It is not essential for you to know right now what you want to do. It is not essential for you to know what skills you want to improve on. But it is the right time to start exploring every single thing that you can lay your hands on. So I have also tried competitive coding. I've also tried web development, app development. Since even though it is not my domain, I can't code a website right now. But I tried it. I failed. I was bored by it, so I did not choose it. But you should try everything. So you can see in my CV that I also have some experience with augmented reality and virtual reality. And my bachelor's dissertation was on virtual reality integrating integration with robotics. So that is what I like to do. That is what fascinates me. So I think my next step would be a side hustle would be integrating virtual reality with robotics. So you can all check my GitHub page for that video if you want. But uh, it's okay to not know right now. That is my whole point. But it is mandatory for you to start exploring and make a list of whatever you have explored. If you are explored cybersecurity, if you have explored ethical hacking, if you have explored software development, if you have explored web development, app development, game development, there are a lot of things that you can explore right now, and you should. I also have a few projects on data science and machine learning. But now, since I'm studying machine learning right now, I can code algorithms. But after my second year or third year of engineering, I had no idea because I did that in first year. So the key point is to explore and explore, and only then you will be able to shortlist what you want to do. And it's okay to not know. Most people don't know. What advice would you give for a first year student with a keen interest, build a limited experience, but a limited experience or knowledge base in AI, ML, data science in order to secure a good research internship? You need to learn the concepts first. If you have mentioned AI, ML, and data science, uh, I doubt that a particular person will be expert in all three domains. These are vast domains, and you cannot have expertise in all three of them. So you need to know what you want to do first. Then you at least need to have some basic knowledge about the theories and the concepts. The best thing, if you want to learn about machine learning, you take up the course by Andrew Ng on Coursera, or you can watch his lectures on YouTube, which are offered by Stanford University, and it's free and you watch them. But it takes a bit of learning curve. If you are a first year student, then it will take time for you to understand those concepts. But I assure you that once you watch those videos properly and you understand whatever he's saying, you will be able to code any algorithm without even looking up the code. So first you get hands on, get your hands dirty with coding projects and basic projects. It doesn't matter if you are referring to a Kaggle dataset or a Kaggle blog and repeating what they are doing, but it is essential for you to understand what you're doing. It doesn't matter if you're copying the code, just don't publish it somewhere. So it doesn't matter if you're copying the code for learning purposes. It's okay to do that. But you need to understand what you're doing, and you should be in a position to re-implement all of these things if you are given that from scratch. So The main thing is skills. If you're looking for a good research internship, then what they look for is skills. Because if you mention that I am interested in AI, ML, and data science, all these are very broad domains. So you need to focus on one thing first. You need to narrow it down. Then you need to have some basic theoretical knowledge about it. It's okay if you don't understand the proper math behind it because it can get a bit messy, but you need to know how it works. You should be in a position to explain it to a random stranger walking on the street. So if you are in that position, that means you are eligible for any good internship because that means you have understood the concepts and you can implement it in real life. But the thing is, you should implement it in real life on projects, and there are a load of projects online and on Kaggle as well. And there are YouTube channels about these projects. And with the hype of ChatGPT, why don't you explore ChatGPT and uh, just use that API to create something? That would be a good project. So after these short experiences and projects, then you will be in a good position to apply to a good research internship. But start early. Don't wait for you to get like 1,000 experiences and then you apply to an internship. You determine your topic, get some basic knowledge, polish on your skills, work on one or two projects, good projects, and try to build those projects from scratch on your own. It's okay to refer to some things, but try to do that on your own, and then you can directly start applying because you have the credentials to apply now. How different is placement scenario during masters abroad compared to how it is here? There are no placements. There are usually not any placements offered by the university. There is no campus placements. People from different organizations and startups come to the university for a career fair. That's what they do by setting up booths, and they bring a few executives from their industry, and then we are given an opportunity to directly interact with them, and we are given an opportunity to sell ourselves, to network with them, to make them our connections on LinkedIn, to hand out our resumes or CVs if they are very interested to know about you. And it's just a way for you to meet the people from different industries, and you can it's like moving in a internship market. So we had a career fair in the month of November, and it was a career fair where around 60 industries came, and it took me like 3.5 hours to visit every stall and interact with the people I am interested to work with. So it's very different here. There is no support as such, but there's no direct support like they do it in India. For example, in my university, the professor will call you if you are not applying for internships or if you are not applying for job applications that the department is bringing to you. So they have all the records in India. They have all the records, and they will follow up if you're not doing a particular thing. But here, nobody cares about you. You have to do it yourself. They will provide you with the resources, and it depends on you on how you make the best use of those resources. So it is very different. It's all upon you, and if it's there's no guarantee that you will get the job, and with these times of the layoffs, it's very difficult for you to get a job here as well. But there are many opportunities if you know how to look for them and if you know how to find them. You need to approach the right people. You need to approach CEOs and HRs, and only then you will be able to be in that position to apply to a good organization. So all in all, it's very different, but you should be in a position to apply having the proper skill set and proper experience. So that's all.
Yeah, I just wanted to add one more point for the previous question where, if you're a first year student and you want to apply for good research internships, I would, advise you to attend competitions conducted by your college. Say we at Tech Club, we conduct a lot of Kaggle competitions. We're looking to conduct a lot of Kaggle competitions. We take people, we train you. We have something called as Zenith going on where we have 5 different domains, and we have classes going on for beginners for all the domains. And in the end, you complete the courses with the project, and this would help you, strategically build your knowledge base on securing these internships. So this is one way of learning if you're in a first year, so you don't have to rush. So that's what I wanted to say. And yeah, so thank you so much, Akshat, for taking
No
time to do
problem.
this talk.
No problem. It's an honor. Thank you so much for inviting me, and for those 18 attendants who are attending and listening to me. Thanks a lot. It means a lot because we have already passed the mark time. So thank you everyone, and I wish you all a good luck. And thanks a lot, Bharat, for this invitation. And it was a good time. I had a good time.
Yeah, it was great, Akshat. Thank you for the session again. Yeah.
No problem.